guys, David Cordero from PassTheGuitar.live here for another song tutorial. And for this video, we're gonna bring to you a beginner's tutorial for John Mayer's brand new, freshly released single, Last Train Home. Such a great song. I can't stop jamming to it, and I bet that after this lesson, you're gonna be doing the same. It's the full package, groovy, catchy, and it comes packed with tons of guitar. Everything we love, right? But before we move on, make sure you have a capo with you because we're gonna be needing one. As you can see, I have one here on the 2nd fret. And if you are ready, you know the drill. Let's waste no more time and dive right in. Alright, let's take a look at the list of chords we're gonna be using for this song. And as you know, we are working on a beginner's version, a beginner's tutorial, so the chords are going to be mostly basic chords. We will need G major, D major, A major, B minor, and E minor. And that's all the chords you need. But don't forget to make sure you have your capo on the 2nd fret and you're gonna be all set. On our tutorials, we usually go directly into the strumming pattern. Make sure we have them before we start covering the form. But for this song specifically, we're gonna cover strumming pattern and song form at the same time. And the reason why is because we are gonna be playing a different strumming pattern for some parts of the song and then a different one for another one. So we're gonna have a strumming pattern for verses, the intro and the outro, and we're gonna have another strumming pattern for the choruses. So let's start by taking a look at what we're gonna be playing for a strumming pattern for the verses, intro, and outro. And I'm gonna play so you know what I'm talking about. It's this part here. You know, right? So as you can see here, you have a 4-bar phrase, and for the majority of it, all you're playing is quarter notes. As you know, this is a beginner's tutorial, so we're trying to keep as simple as possible. But even though you only see quarter notes for the majority of the strumming pattern here, we are still feeling the subdivision with 16 notes. 1 E and that 2 E and that 3 E and that 4 E and that 1 E and that 2 E and that 3 E and that 4 E and that 1 E and that 2 E and that 3 and that 4 E and that. So make sure, even though we're just gonna be playing quarter notes, that you are grooving to the 16th note, that your hand is moving to the 16 notes. And that's really going to be helpful when we get to the 3rd measure, where we have a couple of beats or up strums. And your hand is already going to be doing the right movement, and all you're going to have to do is make sure that your pick hits the strings. And that's also going to be super helpful when we later on cover some ideas on how you can make this strumming pattern a little more interesting than just quarter notes. All right? So let's take a look at that 3rd measure, because everything else we're just playing quarter notes, right? So I'm gonna play first, as I always do, and I'm gonna be also counting out loud. So make sure you don't only listen to the sound of the strum, but you also focus on the way that I'm counting. 1, the 2, and the 3, a 4 E, and the 1 E, and the 2 E, and the 3 E, and a 4 E, and 1 E, and the 2 E, and 3 E, and a 4 E, and the down, 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 up, up, down, the 2 E, and the 3 E, and up, E, and the. Nice, right? Well, let's put the chords into the chord progression and take a look, because we're going to be playing a lot of chords for these specific parts, the intro, the outro, and the verses. Well, take a look at it. And it's an 8-bar phrase. And the only reason why it's an 8-bar phrase is because on the 3rd measure and on the 7th measure, we're going to be playing those upbeats on a different chord. On the third measure, we see a D there, and on the seventh measure, we see an A major. That's the only difference. Everything else is the same. So we're gonna play G on the first beat of the first measure, and go to D on the second beat. And then for the rest of that first measure, we're gonna play D. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we run a bunch of chords on the second measure. We're gonna do G for the first beat, D for the second, A for the third beat, and then fourth beat we're gonna play D again. And then we head into the third measure, the unique measure, the third in this case, or the seventh. And then we play G for 3 beats. So 1, 2, 3. On the third measure we see D, so those up beats are gonna be on D. 3 E and up, 4 E and up. And then we head to the fourth measure where we play G major for 4 beats. 2, 3, 4. And then we had the fifth measure where we do the same thing that we did for the first measure. G for the first beat, D for the second, third, fourth. And then on the sixth measure, we do that measure with 4 chords where we play G for the first beat, D on the second, A on the third, back to D again on the fourth beat, and then we head back to G major on the seventh measure. Play for 3 beats. And now those off beats, those up strums are gonna be with A major instead of D major. So 1, 2 E and 3 E and up, 4 E and then back to G again for the last measure. 3, 4. Let's choose a slow tempo and practice this whole part. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and up, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Fifth measure G. Nice, that's it. That's the groove, and that's literally what we're gonna be doing for the majority of the song, because that's intro, verses, and the outro as well. Now that we covered that, let's take a look at the strumming pattern and also what we're gonna be playing chord-wise for the chorus. And first of all, let's take a look at this strumming pattern here. It's a 1-bar phrase only, but as you can see, it's a lot busier. There's a lot more going on here than what we have on the verses. But at least for the choruses, we're not going to be moving between a lot of chords in one measure. So let's do what we always do. I'm going to play this with muted strings, and you can follow along, but make sure you're listening to the sound and to the way that I'm counting. Here we go. 1 E and 2 E, 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 1 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and down, down, up, up, down, 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 up, up, down, down. That's it. Super nice, right? And that's gonna be where we're gonna get to groove a little bit more than just playing quarter notes, right? But let's take a look at the chords, because you probably noticed that we haven't used B minor or E minor yet, and now's the time to get those chords to be played. Here it is, an 8-bar phrase. Again, an 8-bar phrase, and we basically repeat a lot of things here. First and second measure are the same as fifth and sixth. So we start with a full measure of G major, and then we head over to B minor for a full measure. After that, we go to a full measure of D major, and we end the first line, the fourth measure, we have a full measure of G major. And this is great. You're not moving anywhere because on the fifth measure, it's another full measure of G major. 6, like I said, it's a full measure of B minor. And then for the seventh measure, we're gonna go to E minor. And for the last measure, the eighth measure, we're gonna play G major for half of it and A major for the second half. And as you can see, we're not playing the strumming pattern from the chorus. We're just playing quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool, right? Well, I know I'm feeling like eager to actually plug in that strumming pattern and start hearing that chorus. So let's do that right now. And don't forget that the eighth measure, we're just playing quarter notes. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 4, B minor, 1, and 2, and 4, D major, 1, and 2, and 4, back to G major, 2, and 4, G major again, and 2, and 4, B minor, 1, and 4, E minor, 1, and 2, and 4, and now quarter notes, 2, and 3, and 4, and up. I hope you guys are enjoying this tutorial, and if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, click on that bell, and like this video. And if you have any questions, suggestions, or requests for content you'd like to see us covering in this channel, leave us a comment and we'll be happy to reply. Alright, we covered a lot for this video, but don't worry, I did not forget what I promised you guys. Now, we're gonna go over an idea of what you can do for the strumming pattern of verse, intro, and outro. Specifically, what we're gonna do for those quarter notes. So if you're not up for the challenge, that's okay, just move on to the next chapter. Well, remember that I said that you guys should be moving your hand and your wrist to the 16th note. Even though you were not playing all those 16 notes, now you can understand even more why that is important. Well, what we're gonna be doing here is basically just make sure that for some of those 16 notes, we're actually gonna play the strings. We're gonna hit the strings. And it's gonna be specifically the last two 16 notes of every beat. Take a look at it. So it's the and It sounds like this. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. And a great place to use that is when we're moving around those chords on the second measure, on the sixth measure, or even on the first and on the fourth. Look. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 and 3 Nice, right? And there's so much you can do by adding different 16 notes, or all of them if you want, or just one of them. It's one great idea to increment strumming patterns. But make sure you're always moving, because that will make it a lot easier for you to add any of these 16 notes to your strumming pattern. And now it's time for us to do a playthrough so we can put everything that we learned to practice. We're gonna do verse 1 and we're also gonna do chorus 1. So let's start with the verse. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. If you wanna roll me, then you gotta roll me all night long. If you wanna was verse 1. Let's do chorus 1. 1, 2, up, E, and 4. And not a falling angel, just felt behind. And not a look and I'm out of time. Up and 4. If you don't wanna love me, let me go. I'm running for the last train. I'm running for the last train home. And that's a wrap for this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned a lot. But don't forget, this is just the beginning. There is so much we can cover with this song. There is tons of guitar vocabulary, riffs, blues solo approach ideas, you name it. But that's content for another tutorial. My name is David Cordero and I'll see you guys on another video.